My 5 lights up top, they're all amber in color, properly mounted secured, not cracked or broken, and they are working. The 3 in the center are my ID lights. The ones on each side, those are my clearance lights. Come down, I got mirrors mounted to the side of my hood. They're properly mounted secured, not bent, cracked, or broken. Checking my headlights, lens clear in color. Got my high beams, low beams, properly mounted secured, not cracked or broken, and they are working. On the side of those, have turn signals, amber in color, properly mounted secured, not cracked or broken, and they are working. They also function as my 4-way flashers. On the side of those, I have reflectors, amber in color, properly mounted secured, not cracked or broken. Come down, check my license plate, properly mounted secured, no missing hardware. Tags and registration are up to date. Looking underneath my truck, make sure I got no hanging wires, no hanging hoses. Also making sure I got no dripping, no signs of puddling going on. If I was leaking, I could be leaking coolant, fuel, power steering fluid, oil, and even washer fluid. None of that going on, so I'm good. Checking my tractor trailer, make sure it's not leaning to one side or the other. If it was, it can indicate one of 3 things. 1 being a busted suspension, 2 being low tire pressure, or 3 being that my cargo load has shifted. Now we're going to go into the passenger side of the engine compartment. All my hoses are properly mounted secured, no abrasion, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. Checking my exhaust, properly mounted secured, not bent, cracked, or broken. No signs of excessive rust or excessive soot. That would indicate a leak. Checking my alternator, properly mounted secured, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is belt driven. Also have electrical lines right here and right here. They are properly mounted secured, properly covered, no exposed wires. My serpentine belt is properly mounted secured, not ripped, torn, frayed. No more than 3/4 inch play from the center of that belt. My frame, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. No illegal holes, no illegal welds. My suspension, front leaf spring mount, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My leaf springs, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, not shifted. If I had 4, I'll be allowed 1/4 damage. Since I have 2, I'm allowed 0 damage. That'll put my truck out of service. My U-bolts, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Shock absorbers, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, not leaking. My shackle, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Checking my brake system, starting with my brake hose, properly mounted secured on both ends. No abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. My brake chamber is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, it is not leaking. My brake clamp, properly mounted secure over my brake chamber, not bent, cracked, or broken. My push rod, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. I'm allowed no more than 1 inch travel on the push rod when the brakes are released. Slack adjuster, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Both have cotter pins in place. Now I'm looking at my brake drum, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. No bluing, no glazing, no grease, no oil. Now I'm checking my brake lining. It's properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My brake lining, no less than 1/4 inch wear at its thinnest point. Now I'm checking my tires using the ICD method. ICD stands for inflation, condition, and depth. For inflation, I'm going to go off the outer wheel wall, whatever the manufacturer specs say. To check or adjust, I would do so here on my valve stem and my valve stem with the commercial air gauge. My valve stem is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, not leaking, and it does have a DOT approved cap on it. For condition, checking my outer and inner wheel walls, make sure there's no abrasion, bulges, or cuts, not leaking. For condition, checking that my tires are wearing evenly. I am not allowed recapped or retreaded tires up front. They must be brand new virgin or steer tires only, and no mismatched tires. And my depth is no less than 4/32 in depth. Checking my rim, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. No illegal holes, no illegal welds. Checking my studs and lug nuts, if they're all properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, none are missing, and no signs of rust around any which would indicate looseness. Check my hub seal, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is not leaking. It is properly mounted secure with spider bolts in place, none are missing, none are bent, cracked, or broken, and no signs of rust around any which would indicate looseness. Check my hub seal gear oil. Pop this rubber seal out. It would either drip out or flow out. If it did not and I needed to add, I would add here, and I would add 90 weight gear oil only. Go around to the other side of the engine compartment. I'm going to start from the top and zigzag my way through so I don't forget anything. First, I want to point out that back here I have 3 things you cannot really see. I have a fuel pump, power steering pump, and an air compressor. All 3 are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. They're not leaking, and they are all 3 gear driven. My coolant reservoir is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is not leaking. It is clear in color, allowing me to see my fluid level. If I had to add, I would add here, never while the engine is hot, only when the engine has cooled down. Right here is my water pump, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is not leaking. It is belt driven, and if I pull on the center of that belt, I should have no more than 3/4 inch play. My oil dipstick, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, not leaking. Check my oil level, pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it out, see where my oil level's at. If I had to add, I would add here. Right here's my power steering reservoir, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, not leaking. It is also clear in color, allowing me to see my fluid level. If I had to add, I would add here. Again, my hoses are all properly mounted secure on both ends. No abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. Right here's my steering column. No excessive play, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. I have U-joints on the bottom and top, upper and lower. They're properly greased, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My power steering gearbox is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is not leaking. Right here I got 5 things on my bundle. My pitman arm, my drag link, my upper knuckle, my lower knuckle, and my tie rod. All 5 are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. And they're all properly mounted secure with castle nuts and cotter pins in place. That concludes my engine compartment. Come down to the side of my door, checking my door hinges are all properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Allow my door to swing open and close freely. My mirror mounts, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, no missing hardware. My door handle is in working order, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. I have a rubber weather strip around my door. It is intact, not dry, rotted, ripped, or torn. My side steps are all properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, free of any slip, trip, fall hazards such as ice, water, grease, oil, even debris. My fuel tank is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is not leaking. I have metal straps holding my fuel tank in place with rubber garments underneath so there's not metal on metal friction. They are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My fuel cap has a rubber gasket underneath. It is intact, not dry, rotted, ripped, or torn. Also I have a chain and T-bar so I don't lose my fuel cap. They are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Right here is my storage compartment, which contains my emergency equipment. I have my fire extinguisher, properly mounted secure to the cab, fully charged in the green, safety pin in the handle, and is at a 10 BC rating or better. I also have 3 red reflective triangles. None are missing, none are bent, cracked, or broken. I also carry spare bulbs and spare fuses on me. Right here, side marker light, amber in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and it is working. Functions as a turn signal and a 4-way flasher. Again, my side steps and my catwalk are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, free of any slip, trip, fall hazards such as ice, water, grease, oil, and even debris. My drive shaft, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. I got U-joints on that side and on that side. They are properly greased, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My exhaust, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. No signs of excessive rust or excessive soot that would indicate a leak. Again, my frame is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. No illegal holes, no illegal welds. What else do you want? Stop. What else do you want me to do? There? Okay. My 5th wheel skid plate is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is properly greased to prevent steering problems. My release handle, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It would be in the lock position with the safety latch over it. This here is my platform, making sure the manufacturer weld has not been compromised or lost its integrity. My platform is mounted to my frame with mounting bolts. None are missing, none are bent, cracked, or broken, and no signs of rust around any which would indicate looseness. I would check my brake system on my 2nd and 3rd axle, just like I check my brake system on my 1st axle, with the exception of now I'm allowed no more than 2-inch travel on my push rod when the brakes are released. I would check my suspension for my 2nd and 3rd axle, just like I check my suspension in the 1st axle, with 2 differences. Now I have torque spring, now I have an airbag. My airbag is properly mounted secure, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and not leaking. My torque spring is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and not shifted. Back here on my 2nd and 3rd axle, I have bud spacing. My bud spacing between my tires is free of debris and equally spaced around. I would check the ICD on my tires for my 2nd and 3rd axle, just like I checked the ICD on my 1st axle. The only difference is now I am allowed recapped and retreaded tires. My depth is no less than 2/32 and still no mismatched tires. I would check my rim, my studs, my lug nuts, and my valve stem on my 2nd and 3rd axle, just like I checked on my 1st axle. The only difference is now I have axle seals. My axle seals are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, broken, and not leaking. And my axle seals are covered with these chrome cover plates.
All right, I'm ready.
Right here are my locking jaws. I want to make sure there's no excessive wear, that they're properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Your locking jaws will lock around the shank of your kingpin. Where you at? All right. From here, 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 all the way to the other end. This whole metal plate is called the apron of your trailer. This apron sits flush on your fifth wheel skid plate. And that's why this grease is all right here. This here is your kingpin, and this indent right here, that's the shank of your kingpin. This part right here is called the head of your kingpin. You don't need to say nothing about it. Just want to talk about the shank of your kingpin and your kingpin in general.
3, 2, 1.
This here is the spring. It's properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My spring's job is to hold my lines in place with enough slack adjusted to make my turn safely. It also prevents my lines from dragging on the catwalk or rubbing up against the cab. I would then individualize my lines, starting with the emergency red air hose with its metal fittings right here and right here, that they're properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and I'm not leaking any air from there. I would also check the emergency hose from beginning, middle to end, make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. I would also check the service hose with its metal fittings right here and right here, make sure they're properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, not leaking any air from there. I would also check the service hose from beginning, middle to end, make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. I would check both my glad hands, that they're properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. And inside my glad hands, I have rubber gaskets that are intact, not dry, rotted, ripped, or torn, or missing, and I'm not leaking any air from there. I would then check my electrical line that is properly mounted secure on both ends with its locking lever over it. My electrical line is properly covered from beginning, middle to end, no exposed wires, no signs of arcing. I would check the nose of my trailer, that everything's properly mounted secure, no missing rivets, no excessive bulging, and no holes. I also have clearance lights up top. They're both amber color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and they are working. I would check the side of my trailer the same way. Everything's properly mounted secure, no missing rivets, no excessive bulging, and no holes. Also, I have my DOT tape present all the way down the side of my trailer. I also have clearance lights up top, one right there, one in the back. They're both amber in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and they are working. I would then check my apron that is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Check my fifth wheel skid plate that is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and is properly greased. I have zero gap between my apron and my skid plate. I cannot see no sunlight through. It sits flush on my fifth wheel skid plate. My release handle is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. It is in the lock position with the safety latch over it. This here is my platform, checking that manufacturer weld has not been compromised or lost its integrity. My platform is mounted to my frame with mounting bolts. None are missing, none are bent, cracked, or broken, and no signs of rust around any, which would indicate looseness. I would then look down the throat of my fifth wheel skid plate. I'm looking at my kingpin, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. Checking the shank, no excessive wear, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken. I would also check my locking jaws, no excessive wear, properly mounted secure around the shank of my kingpin. I would then check my brake system for my second and third axle, just like I checked my brake system for my first axle. The only difference is now I'm allowed no more than 2-inch travel on my push rod when the brakes are released. I would check my suspension for my second and third axle, just like I checked the suspension on my first axle. The only difference is now I'm at torque spring, now I have an airbag. My airbag is properly mounted secure, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. Torque spring, properly mounted secured, not bent, cracked, or broken, and not shifted. Back here on my second, third axle, I have bud spacing. My bud spacings are free of debris and equally spaced around. I would check my ICD on my tires for my second and third axle, just like I checked the ICD on my first axle. The only difference is now I am allowed recapped and retreaded tires, still no mismatched tires, and my depth is no less than 2/32 in depth. I would check my rim, my studs, lug nuts, and valve stem on my second and third axle, just like I checked on my first axle. The only difference is now I have axle seals. My axle seals are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and they're not leaking. Also, the smaller version of studs and lug nuts are all fastened, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, none missing, and no signs of rust around any, which would indicate looseness. I would then check my splash guard, properly mounted secure to the frame, has the DOT tape around it. My splash guard is covering both tires, no lower than 2, no higher than 8 inches off the ground. I would check my tail lights. They're both red in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and they are working. They function as my turn signals, my forward flashers, and my brake lights. I would then check my reverse light, clear in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and it is working. While I'm down here, I'm going to check my cross members, also known as the ribs on my trailer. Make sure they're all properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, no illegal welds. I would also check the floor of my trailer, see if there's no missing wooden planks and no holes in my trailer. I would then check my landing gear. My landing gear is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My landing gear is fully raised. This here is my sand shoe, free of debris, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. My landing gear mounts are all properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. This here is my crank handle. It is in working order, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and it is properly stored away in the proper storage position. Now, I don't want to work on this trailer because you cannot see your hoses hanging down, so we're going to go to that trailer over there, okay? Right here I have my springs holding my air lines no lower than 18 inches off the ground. My air hoses are properly mounted secure on both ends. No abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. This here is my tandem release handle, and my tandem locking pin. They're all properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. I'm going to check my brake system for my 4th and 5th axle, just like I checked my brake system on my 2nd and 3rd axle. There is no differences. They are exactly the same. I'm going to check my suspension on my 4th and 5th axle, just like I checked my suspension on my 2nd and 3rd axle. The only difference is now my spring mount is welded, I have adjustable torque rod, and I have equalizers. All are properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. I'm going to check my bud spacing and the ICD on my tires for my 4th and 5th axle, just like I checked on my 2nd and 3rd axle. There's no differences. They are exactly the same. I'm going to check my rim, my studs, my lug nuts, my valve stem, my hub seal, and my spider bolts on my 4th and 5th axle, just like I checked on my 1st axle. There's no differences. They are exactly the same. I'm going to check my splash guard behind my 5th axle, just like I checked my splash guard behind my 3rd axle. There's no differences. They're exactly the same. Let's go to this one right here. Because you guys are going to be on swing doors.
Oh, you want to be on this one?
Yeah, you guys are going to be on swing doors. My 3 red lights up top are my clearance lights. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and they are working. Checking my door hinges, that they're all properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, no missing hardware. They allow my doors to swing open and close freely. These here are my door handles and bars, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, no missing hardware. They allow me to open and close my doors and keep them in the locked position. I do have DOT tape present around my trailer doors. My tail lights are all 4 red in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and they are working. The 2 on the outside function as my turn signals and my 4-way flashers. 2 on the inside function as my brake lights. I also have red reflectors in between. They're red in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken. I have my DOT bumper, properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and it has this DOT tape present. Also I have my license plate light with its clear casing over it. It is properly mounted secure, not cracked or broken, and it is working. Also I have my license plate properly mounted secure with tags and registration up to date. At this point, I would check my right side of the trailer exactly like I did the left side of my trailer. Would you like me to repeat? No, that concludes my pre-trip inspection.